All right, good evening, everyone. We are going to get started. So I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:04. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. This is a very, very special school committee meeting, so I'm very excited. First, is there a motion to seal the executive session minutes from tonight?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. And we did take one vote in executive session tonight, and that passed 4-0, and that was to approve a contract. So now it is time for our showcase for our retirees. I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Cummings.
Why, thank you, Tammy. So tonight is a bittersweet evening, so where we get to honor the wonderful work of our educators who are retiring this year. And so the way that we are going to structure it is we typically have the principal come up, say a few words about the person who's retiring, and we have a nice gift for them. And, I will just say on a personal note, I am just so amazed at the collective talent of this group of educators and support staff that, I've had the pleasure to work with since I arrived in Narragansett 7 years ago. They're just amazing educators and amazing human beings. So, I just want to express my thanks for their incredible work with students and let them know we're really going to miss you next year. So thank you. All right, so with that, I would like to call up our middle level. So who do we usually start with? Elementary, right? And so I'm sorry about that. So come right up, Lisa, and say a couple words about PEG.
So I'm here to talk about one of our teacher assistants, Peggy Anderson, who has just completed her 20th year as a teacher assistant. She's not here tonight, but she's watching it on TV, so hello, Peggy. She began her career as a substitute one-on-one for a 4th grade student, and in the short 4 weeks, she fell in love with this job. She was noted to be, at that time, in the short 4 weeks, as a hard worker, self-starter, caring, kind, enjoying kids, and makes the classroom environment a learning one for all of the students there. She was encouraged to apply for the upcoming school year, and of course she was hired. And she did stay as a classroom teacher assistant and a 4th grade one-on-one for only a couple of years. And then she entered kindergarten for the last 18 years, which is something. She continues to be an exemplary employee with the very same qualities. She additionally has participated in probably the most professional development I've ever seen in a file to enhance her expertise and support the students at NES. She's participated in literacy, professional development, assessments, phonics, reading, exploring vocabulary, math, computational math, learning styles, inclusive classrooms, behavior management, SEL, school safety, CPR, just to name a few. It was unbelievable. She has been such an asset to NES. She is always called on to support new teacher assistants to guide them, and often we have calls from teacher assistants that need to do some hours, and she's always one of the ones that volunteers to support them and take them through of what it's like to be a teacher assistant. She has a no-nonsense way about her and has a lot of respect from both the staff and students. She loves all the children she's worked with and really does care about them. She is a true assistant to the teacher and has always been there to help the students learn and grow. We are curious to see what she will do next because she is not one for relaxing. We hope she continues to travel, relax by her pool, see some live music, which is a passion of hers, spend time with her family and friends and her husband, and she will be greatly missed by all of us. So here's to Peggy Anderson.
So next, I'd like to call up Colleen Johnson, who's going to say some words about our Pure School retirees.
All
right, we have 4 amazing teachers to recognize tonight, so we're going to start with Nancy Pasanti, if she would like to join me up here. Yeah. So it is with great honor for me to speak tonight on behalf of these 4 amazing Narragansett educators. So we're going to begin with Miss Nancy Pasanti. Nancy has dedicated an impressive 36 years to the Narragansett School District. Did you know that?
I did know that. I was there.
She started at URI in the teacher certification program and also received her Bachelor's of Science, specifying in the area of communicative disorders. Nancy also completed a sign language course at Bristol Community College and at one time worked with GemsNet as a teacher in residence. Nancy's cooperating teacher once stated about her that Nancy demonstrated desire to teach and showed a strong, true interest in the children of the classroom. And that statement could be not any more true even now after 36 years. Nancy, fancy Nancy, your students have written many amazing words regarding having you as their teacher. I would like to share a few with you now. We really enjoyed having you for 2 years and being able to grow with you through the challenges of COVID. Learning with hissing cockroaches and making diagrams helped us to become better learners, and we still sing the planet song. Another student wrote, I like our walks outside with Mrs. Pasanti. Mrs. Pasanti always had the best outfits. See, fancy. And I loved complimenting them. So, Nancy, know that you'll be sorely missed, and we hope you enjoy your deserved retirement.
Thank you very much. It's really cool. Thank you. I'm just going to sit down.
Next, we're going to honor Lynn Galligan, if you want to join me. Okay, so to honor Miss Lynn Galligan, it has been evident since I stepped into the building just for one short year with our faculty on the very first day that Lynn is a staple at the Narragansett Peer School. From style to love and care, Lynn truly embodies what it is to be a middle school teacher, colleague, and friend. Lynn has worked for the Narragansett school system for a total of 34 years. She went to Rhode Island College, where she received her degree in elementary and special education. She then started her early career teaching at Pleasant View Elementary School in Providence and St. Mary's Campus School in North Providence, followed by the Rhode Island State Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Not only has Ms. Galligan dedicated her time in schools, but she also has been a volunteer at Trudeau Memorial Center and Rhode Island Hospital. Between her many accomplishments, Lynn also finds a way to incorporate fun into her daily style. I don't believe that there's been a day this year she hasn't found a great way to incorporate leopard print into her daily style. In fact, even during the pandemic, she wore a leopard print mask, I believe, the entire time. Lynn's students will leave with fond memories of their teachers, and I will quote a few of them here about Miss Galligan. Mrs. Galligan doing the gritty through our enrichment classroom last year with her whole class.
I did, and I was trying to get Mr. K to do it, and I'm waiting.
We'll have to get it on video for
Thank
you.
you very much.
Mrs. Galligan was really excited for the books we were reading and couldn't wait to talk to us about the book and see if we liked it. And one more, which is another true testament to who Lynn truly is I loved having you as my teacher. You made classes enjoyable because you could talk with us and make us feel better. Thank you, Ms. Galligan, for all you've done for our community, students, and all of us at the Peer School. You will truly miss.
Now, I'm so sorry, yes, I do. Now, I'm so sorry. I am an ELA teacher, so I do need to do this. Thank you, Colleen, for your kind words. Leaving my classroom is hard for me as I take down the curtains that created my comfortable classroom. Leaving my classroom is hard for me as I take down the wall decorations used to inspire my students, leaving a bare room that no longer tells my story. Leaving my classroom is hard for me as I watch my colleagues collaborate and work tirelessly with our students. Leaving my classroom is hard for me as I look into the eyes of my students and know that my power to influence their minds and hearts will come to a close very soon. I ask myself today, what message do I want to leave with you? This quote from Jill Biden tells it all for me. Teaching is not a job. It is a lifestyle. It permeates your whole world, your whole life. Being a teacher is not what I do. It is who I am. Thank you, Narragansett School System, for providing me with the opportunity and support I needed to teach with expertise and passion. Thank you to my colleagues for our journey together as educators and as people. Our many stories and laughs has brought great joy to me throughout the years and will never be forgotten. And my colleagues are here today. I love you. Thank you to my wonderful family, whose patience, love, and support helped me balance my school and home responsibilities. I love you. And finally, thank you to my cherished students for allowing me to take your hand, I promise I wouldn't cry, open your mind, and touch your heart. As I set forth on my retirement journey, I am truly honored to be a part of this remarkable and unforgettable journey. With gratitude, I will hold these memories dear to my heart forever. For being a teacher is not what I do. It is and always will be who I am. Thank you.
And Colleen, if any of the retirees want to say a few words after they're recognized, that's okay. If the principals want to check with them, it's not too late, Ms. Pasante, if you wanted to say anything. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I will say that, so principals, you can check with the retirees. It's optional, but we welcome it. So whatever, the floor is yours.
Basically want to say thank you for the opportunity to work in the school district. It's been a long time, so that's pretty much it. Thank you.
All right, so following that, we have two more retirees who are not here with us tonight, but we want to honor them the same. So one is Michelle Holmes, and how could we not go on and on about Miss Michelle Holmes? As a teacher who has dedicated no less than 26 years with the Narragansett school system, Michelle works hard every day to engage her students in science lessons, while also working hard to teach her students to reflect and become better citizens in the world. Michelle applied to work in Narragansett in 1997, carrying her master's degree from Rick and a bachelor's degree from the University of Washington. In the early start of her career, Michelle worked as a real estate developer before student teaching in Jamestown, where her supervisor stated, "Michelle made quite an impact on my classroom and around the school." Michelle's students collectively will miss her kindness. From the words of a few of her students, Michelle is a very kind teacher that cares about everyone. She is a middle school, she is truly couldn't be the same without her at the middle school. And another student stated that you were such an amazing teacher. I love how energetic and amazing you are. Your teaching methods are amazing. We all wish you the very best, Michelle. Enjoy visiting family, spending time with your grandchildren, and your soon visit to California. So that's a congratulations for Michelle. And last, but certainly not least, we have Miss Joan Marasian, who is out traveling as we speak. She is a shining star on our faculty. She is a hardworking library media specialist at our school who pours her heart and soul into everything that she does. Joan applied for the Narragansett Peer School Library Media position in 2012, carrying her Master's of Library Science degree from URI. Prior to working in Narragansett, Joan worked at the Howard Hathaway School in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and also worked as a social caseworker with DCYF early on in her career. Joan has not only worked with our students as a library media specialist over the years, but she's also spent time as a student council co-advisor. News Club advisor, Makerspace advisor, and has also volunteered her time to help start a book club and a writing club with students at their request. Joan has been a staple in this faculty. The library is truly the heart of the school that we hope to continue on in her legacy and for our students for many years to come. She will be dearly missed.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. Derek, would you like to come up and say a few words about Tammy?
Tammy Hall has been a loyal employee of the Narragansett school system since August of 2012. Before that, she came to us as a seasoned bus driver from another district. We were very happy to get her. During the past 15 years, nearly 9 of which I have had the honor of working with her, she's proven to be an exemplary driver, an advocate for the students, as well as pretty much a cheerleader for the students. Aside from giving 110% to her profession, Tammy, or Miss Tammy as she is very well known, adds an element of fun and excitement to her daily bus route, whether it be holiday decorations, crazy fun theme days, or simply being a friendly face to chat with. Miss Tammy is loved by all her students and coworkers and will be greatly missed. On behalf of myself, Steve, and the entire transportation department, we wanted to wish Tammy all of the best in her new adventure in Florida.
I don't really speak what Mrs. Gallagher said.
Thank you, Tammy.
Great. Next, I'd like to invite up Mr. Warner to say a few words about our Narragansett High School retirees.
Thank you. I'm going to start by saying a few words about our retiree, Gabby Spear, who couldn't be with us this evening. Gabby spent 23 years in Narragansett. She started her educational career at the Instituto por Formación Docente, which translates into the National Institute for Education in Argentina. She got her master's degree at the University of California at Santa Barbara. She's married to John Spear, an architectural engineer. They live over on Block Island. She has 2 children, both graduated from Narragansett High School, Shane McNamara and Tess McNamara. Tess is an English department chair in the Boston City Schools, and Shane just got his physician assistant's degree. So they're doing real well. But I'd like to call up Ms. Lauren Gabrilowitz, please, to join me. Hello. So Lauren started her career at Narragansett in 1999 at the Pierce School. And soon she saw the light and came over to the high school. Come on, that was mine. She got her undergraduate degree at UMass Dartmouth. UMass Amherst. Right. She also did a year in London at the City of London Polytechnic Institute, correct? She has 2 children as well, Marcy and Adam. Marcy is a dentist in Boston, outside of Boston. And Adam is a CPA with Price Waterhouse. She's married to Alvin Gabrilowitz. And Lauren has been our department chair in Unified Arts probably for the past 15 years.
Something like that.
I think I'm pretty close.
Goes by quick.
It does go by quick. She introduced a number of new courses to the art department, one being Art 3, which was a portfolio course. Kids were allowed to, or were creating portfolios to bring to schools. A number of our kids went on to art school, thanks to Lauren. She's kind and she's caring. Kids come back after years to go visit Mrs. Gabrilowitz, and she just adds something to our high school. She's going to be missed. She's been very supportive of me at the high school, and that means a great deal. And I just want to say thanks for all your hard work, and good luck in your retirement.
Thank you.
All right? Give me a hug.
So it's kind of hard to follow you, Lynn. I didn't prepare a speech, but so teaching was my second career. My first career, when I got out of college, there weren't a lot of art jobs, so I worked as a corporate trainer for a local bank, teaching adults, all new hires, how to do their jobs. So I felt that once my kids were both in school, I wanted to get back into what I really went to school for, and that was art education. So I was fortunate that Narragansett saw something in me. And it's been a career, but a lifestyle, way of life to try and do the best for the children, or as I see, young adults in Narragansett, because once they get to the high school, they might not think it, but I think that they are young adults. And thanks for the opportunity. And I'll come back and sub. So, because I'm not sure what I'll do. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Warner, don't go away. So our final retiree of the evening is Principal Warner. So I have the pleasure of saying a few words about Dan. When Dan Warner was hired as assistant principal of Narragansett High School in the fall of 1999, he was returning home. He was returning home after beginning his career in education in Colorado. In the recommendations submitted on his behalf, one of the joys of doing this is going through all the old recommendations, by the way. It's so fascinating because so many things hold true. And one of the recommendations from one of his colleagues at the University of Northern Colorado Lab School described Dan as an industrious young man who is willing to take risks and attack the difficult problems. Another stated, he's always willing to go the extra mile and can be counted on to help in any situation where students are concerned. And a third said, Dan knows how to get people involved. He has formed many positive relationships during his tenure at our school. This ability seems to be natural. It seems to be a part of his personality. Dan was chosen by students to be their graduation speaker at the lab school 6 of the 8 years he was there, a true testament to the relationships he built and the respect that the community had for him. Dan hit the ground running and served successfully as an assistant and associate principal at Narragansett High School during a tumultuous time in education in Rhode Island. He brought his unique skills to bear and established one of the first and best student advisory programs in Rhode Island, which continues to support our students to this very day. He was active in local and statewide professional learning communities and quickly became a person students and staff could count on. Despite being in charge of student discipline, he was genuinely liked and respected by students and staff alike. Thus, it is no surprise that when the opportunity arose, Dan was named Narragansett High School principal in 2004, replacing Principal Steve Coppinger. Again, his recommendations highlight his ability to connect with students, faculty, and parents. He is lauded for his vision, and in fact, Richie Adham, who many of us know, stated that Dan is one of those rare individuals that have the aptitude to make an institution more human, and therefore more welcoming and comfortable for all. Dan quickly established himself as an excellent and innovative principal. Narragansett High School, again, was a leader in the state by establishing a graduation by exhibition process, which is now known as our senior project, one of the most meaningful experiences each Narragansett student must complete before earning a diploma. Dan shepherded a change in the high school schedule to move to block scheduling to accommodate a more personalized learning approach, and has been a tireless advocate for students through the years. He has invested in each and every student making the most of their opportunities and has helped many to earn their diplomas when the odds were stacked against them. In the course of Dan's leadership journey at Narragansett High School, he He has profoundly impacted not only the structures and systems, but the culture and climate of the school. He has walked the walk and led by example. His time in Narragansett has not been without tragedy, without change, or without a crisis. Yet his ability to have patience, empathy, and kindness has helped our community weather these storms. He has made the school a wonderful place for students to learn. When Dan required a kidney transplant in December of 2018, the high school community, the whole Narragansett community, rallied around him, embracing him with the love and support he has given to the school and the community for so many years. His leadership during the pandemic was exemplary, and he has continued to put students at the center of his leadership work, just as he did as a teacher in Colorado so many years ago. Named Rhode Island High School Principal of the Year in 2009, Dan has guided Narragansett High School to excellence for 24 years, 19 of those as principal. That's an amazing run in a job that looks very different now than when he started, in a world that has changed exponentially and seems to keep accelerating. Dan has been a voice of civility in an often tumultuous world and has been a key member of the Rhode Island Association of School Principals and the Rhode Island Interscholastic League, of which he was president this year. I am personally deeply grateful to Dan for his leadership and for his friendship, for his counsel, and for all the good things that he's done for children. And I wish him all the best in his well-earned retirement. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cummings. That's much appreciated. So I think we've done good things here in Narragansett for the past 24 years. I've appreciated the support financially and emotionally from our school committee, and it's just been a wonderful experience. It's flown by. It's been a great honor to serve as principal here in Narragansett. We have such a wonderful community, and Narragansett High School is one of the best in Rhode Island because it's a team effort, and we approach it that way. And we're so fortunate to have the faculties at all three schools. It makes Narragansett such a special place. I do want to congratulate the other retirees tonight and thank them for all their hard work. And it's that sense of community that makes Narragansett such a special place. I want to thank my wife, Lisa, and my son, Eamon, for all I put them through over the past 24 years. Ixnay on that piece of lady. But what's funny is, 20 years ago, I want to say this meeting, or maybe the July meeting, when I was named principal, that was the last time either one of them were here in the building. Eamon was just a baby. He's going to be 21 soon. It's just been such an incredible experience serving the students of Narragansett, and I thank you for the opportunity. Take care.
Don't go too far. Alex and I just wanted to say just a couple of quick things. So Mr. Warren, I've known you for a very long time. My kids are 23 and 25 who went through the high school, and I just wanted to kind of point out two things that I'm going to remember a lot about you, a lot of good things, but two things that I'm going to remember that I wanted to share. One is being at open house and sitting in the audience as a parent. And every time that you gave your welcome at open house for the parents, you can just tell, like, how much you love your school. Like, people walk away with, like, that principal loves his school. You are like the ultimate PR guy. Branding, like the Mariner journey, but you are like in it to win it. Your vision and your passion and your energy and your positivity, it's awesome. It's contagious. And so people always left open house like feeling like really good, like, all right, let's go meet the teachers, let's do this. But really, anytime that you're able to get, parents or a group of people, you're like the ultimate speech guy, like really good speeches, but really positive, passionate energy, love that. The other thing I'm going to remember is the many, many graduations that I've seen you, and you give a great speech, but what I really have enjoyed is just sitting on the stage and having a bird's eye view to the relationship that you have when the kids get their diploma. I love to just kind of watch that, and you can see the connection that the kids have with you. And it was awesome to see that. And it's really interesting to see the look on the kids' face, because sometimes The kids will high five you, give you a fist bump or whatever, but it's always like that very close relationship, and that's not easy to get to with high school kids, but that you can see it. You can see the gratitude in their eyes. You can see the bonding. It's really neat to watch on graduation, that 3 seconds when the kids are getting the diploma and the connection that they've made with you and that you've made with them. So I'm going to remember all those graduations, but definitely like open house, like welcome on your Mariner journey there. So we're going to really miss you and really thank you for your service. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Warner. I'm just going to take a quick trip back several years ago to my first day of my freshman year at Narragansett. And to those of you who don't know, I attended Narragansett High School, and I'm a very proud Narragansett High School graduate class of 2011. And on the first day of freshman year orientation, you gathered us into an auditorium. We were full of fear and competition and drive, but you were still very welcoming, very warm. But you said, get ready, get set, because the next 4 years are about to fly by very fast. Never forget the education that you're about to receive in Narragansett, and I certainly never did. Dan, Mr. Warner, you are everything that is Narragansett and embody the Mariner spirit. And I leave you with the same words that you first said to me, and that's never forget Narragansett and the memories you created here, because I never have, and we will never forget you. From the bottom of my heart and all of the Mariner peers of mine, thank you.
Thank you very much. You'll be missed. Thank you.
And I really want to thank all of the staff that came out tonight. This is really impressive when you look at the amount of years on the page. This is going to be a big loss for Narragansett. Like, we always say that, but it's like, wow, these are faculty members and staff members that dedicated, a huge portion of your life to make a positive, tremendous, huge impact in these students. And again, my kids had many of you as teachers on the bus, all that stuff. I'd be remiss if I didn't do a little shout out. One of my kids' favorite teachers is here tonight, and that's Miss Grabill. So that was what my kid called you. But favorite teacher, like you made a really positive, like long-lasting impact. Like, and that as a parent, there's nothing more important to me than when the kids look back and they're like, that was my favorite teacher. So thank you. And I know Alex did you have a,
Yeah,
he said, can I please say a few things? I'm like, yes,
There's a
you
lot
can.
of familiar names on this list, and I was very surprised and emotional to see many of the teachers and faculty who supported my brothers David, Ian, and I, my peers, with the best education, and not one of the best education. And your patience, your lessons, your sincerity, your care, your devotion was impactful. And it really helped us all to get on our feet. You supported our dreams, you supported my dream, and I and we are all very, very grateful. You are the heart of Narragansett, and you will be all missed dearly. I wish you all the best on your next journey, and always keep Narragansett in your hearts wherever you go. Thank you.
Very good. All right, so at this point, we're actually going to take a brief recess. You're all welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but in the off chance you may want to go enjoy the time with your family, we're going to take a very brief recess. All right. All right, so we are going to resume our meeting. If you would like to stay for open forum, you are welcome to stay for open forum, but that is the next thing we're going to move on to. All right, so our showcase has concluded. It's now time for open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak? So come on to the podium and just please introduce yourself.
Good evening. Let me get this all together here. Hello, I'm Amy Rodriguez, 19 Pepperbush Trail, Narragansett. I'm here to address the discrimination against my daughter Carmen Rodriguez and the unsafe environment at the Narragansett High School. Twice within the space of 3 months, my daughter had to defend herself from physical harm as a result of the school's negligence and direct dereliction of duty. I will now address the most recent. June 9th, my daughter had received threatening and insulting texts from another student. That morning, while my daughter was walking with her teacher, the aforementioned student burst from her classroom, not being stopped by her teacher, and proceeded to aggressively fast walk down the hall toward my daughter while yelling profanities. This goes against the conduct endangering persons in Student Handbook, page 45, where it says students causing or attempting to cause physical injury to another student, fighting, showing disrespect, or using obscene, profane, and objectionable language to another student may be suspended up to 5 days, and for the offense, and up to 10 days for the second offense. The teacher walking with my daughter did nothing to stop the aggressive student. There was no crisis intervention, leaving my daughter to defend herself. As a result for doing so, she was suspended for 10 days, denied the state requirement of 180 days in-school learning, missed the review in school before final exams while the other student returned to the classroom the following Tuesday, missing only 1 day, full day of school. My daughter was put away in solitary confinement, we could say, away from her peers during exams, and she was made to feel afraid and less value to the school administration than the other student who caused the physical altercation. The school is setting a dangerous precedent. It teaches students should not protect themselves. Regardless if they defend themselves or allow themselves to be assaulted and harmed, they will be punished in the same fashion, being suspended. There is the violation also of the section that says the parent has a right to expect on page 39 of the student handbook, that parental inquiries and concerns receive prompt and courteous attention, and that the school's response to these inquiries or concerns reflects a constructive and helpful attitude. Principal Warner has called me a bad parent at a meeting in front of my daughter and always has a contrary attitude toward me and my family. Superintendent Cummings told me you can always walk away. After my daughter was assaulted in the girls' bathroom, as a victim of domestic violence, abuse, and violent crimes, I will say no, you cannot, nor should you, always walk away. I asked my daughter, and I'll close, what her thoughts were, and I asked her just to write them down for me. She didn't know I was going to read them, but she said, I was kind of scared when I got suspended for 10 days. I didn't even know you could be suspended for 10 days. I didn't know how I was supposed to pass or do well on my exams because I was out. I couldn't review or do work with the rest of the class and couldn't focus on my work at home. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak for open forum? Come on up to the podium and please introduce yourself.
Good evening, members of the committee. My name is Robert Caradillo from Westerly. I'm here to speak in support of Amy Rodriguez and her family, especially her 16-year-old daughter. I'm also here to point out and highlight what I feel is prejudicial behavior toward the Rodriguez's daughter due to the political leanings of her family. Most importantly, the young lady was singled out by both Principal Warner and Superintendent Cummings for simply defending herself versus multiple threats. In my opinion, the young lady had every right to defend herself versus the other student who was charging at her, especially after the student had threatened her repeatedly, including that very morning. When threatened, and when it appears that a threat is about to be carried out, all bets are off. And this child, or any child, has a right to defend herself or himself, no matter where they are. 10-day suspension, especially during finals, is wrong in my view, especially when the Rodriguez's child was not the aggressor. She missed valuable finals review time in class. My understanding is that the other student was suspended for 1 day, while this young lady was suspended for 10. Selective justice, perhaps, in action. The school and the district, in my view, did an extremely poor job in handling the original incident, pending threats, the carrying out of those threats, and the meting out of punishment. It was one-sided, prejudicial, and biased, all things that this fine, admittedly, district, as well as my own in Westerly, claim to be steadfastly against. I ask that the suspension be expunged from her record immediately, and that a letter written and signed by both Mr. Cummings and Mr. Warner stating that the district seriously erred in administering this issue, treated the Rodriguez's child unfairly, and acknowledges putting her at a disadvantage academically during finals week. I also ask for a commitment from Superintendent Cummings, Mr. Warner, to agree to examine her performance on her finals. If they are 1 letter grade below her normal class performance, she must be allowed to retake these exams. Finally, I ask Superintendent Cummings and Mr. Warner's successor to do better. We are watching very closely. Discrimination based on political affiliation, race, sex, or any other reason will not be tolerated. Thank you for letting me address you this evening.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak for open forum? All right, so hearing on, we're moving on with our meeting. All right, so we're moving on to oral reports. Is there anyone from the school committee that has a report to give? Alex?
Yes, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Narragansett High School class of 2023. We did, Tammy, Jen, and I did attend the graduation, and it was very well attended, and I wish all the graduates the best on their next endeavors. The Health and Wellness Committee also met last week, and the Nutrition Subcommittee will be reviewing the nutrition portion of the health curriculum materials next week as well. Just a couple other updates. Students at the Narragansett Peer School created mental health and wellness posters, which were hung up at the Narragansett High School, Narragansett Elementary School, and the Narragansett Peer School as part of a collaborative community awareness for mental health and wellness. Posters included visuals and examples for positive mindset, healthy habits, self-awareness, collaboration, empathy, diversity, and more. In the month of May, the Narragansett Elementary School celebrated Mental Health and Wellness Week. Some activities included a diverse read aloud for all classrooms, mental health posters created by grade 4 students with health teacher Mr. Hassel, positive Post-its which were given to all staff in at Narragansett Peer School, Narragansett High School, and Narragansett Elementary School, different types of music every day at lunch in our Sunshine Committee, and the fridges were stocked with healthy drinks and snacks. Lastly, the Narragansett Elementary School school store very, very excitedly raised over $2,000. The grade 4 class has chosen to gift future Narragansett Elementary School students with new sports equipment for PE and recess. Such a wonderful contribution to benefit all students. And, you know, just a little soundbite from Mr. Warner, you know, and you never forget the education that you're about to receive. You pay it forward, and it's really exemplary to see the grade 4 students paying it forward for their future elementary school peers. So thank you very much for sharing that with me, and I'll pass it off.
All right, thank you. Do any other school committee members have a report to give? Okay. All right, so we're moving on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Cummings?
Thank you, Tammy. So it's an exciting time. We're getting towards the end of the school year. We had Monday off to celebrate Juneteenth, as you all had kind of indicated on the calendar last year. And these final 4 days are really kind of wrapping up the year. So we've had field day at the elementary school and at Pierce School. And we're going to have our moving up ceremonies at the elementary school for our 4th graders at 11 a.m. on Friday, and for the Pierce School at 9 a.m. for our 8th graders. And so, as you can see, we have several retirees this year. We're really, again, sad to see them go, thanking them for their service and wishing them all the best. We are very excited about our incoming class of new teachers. So we have, I believe, 1 math position left to fill at the Pierce School, but other than that, we are looking good for going into September. We have some excellent candidates, including several teachers of the year coming from other districts, so we're very pleased with that. I want to thank our administrators. They've done some excellent recruiting, and so I'm very excited about our new staff coming in. So, as we start to get ready for summer, we will, of course, be coming back with our results and outcomes and kind of all those pieces. But I will say, just kind of looking across the schools, we have lots to be celebrating as we get towards the end of this year. And so, again, I'm grateful to our teachers and administrators for a terrific close to the school year.
Great, thank you. All right, so we're moving on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve consent agenda items CA1A, CA2A, CA2B, and CA2C?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. On to the budget report. Karen?
Expenditures for the 11 months ended May 31st, 2023 total $26,243,940, and that's 75.72% of our budget. Expenditures and encumbrances total $30,796,404, and that's 88.85% of our budget, with 1 more month to go.
Great, thank you, Karen. So we're moving on to school committee business. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the purchase of Level 1 and Level 2 comprehensive school threat assessment training and related materials from Navigate 360 in the amount of $8,240?
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion?
So this is an updated training for our school threat assessment teams at each school. So we did this training, I would say it was before COVID, maybe a year or 2 before COVID, regionally with North Kingstown and Jamestown. It was originally sponsored by Sandy Hook Promise. The comprehensive threat assessment protocol is really the gold standard out of Virginia in terms of doing threat assessment. It's a team-based approach that balances kind of the health and safety both of the individual student that may be being assessed and their threat to the community. It is widely regarded as the exact thing that we should be doing in schools, and it's slowly being adopted by most of the districts within Rhode Island. So this is refresher training for us. We've had some turnover in our mental health staff, as well as some new administrators coming in the fall. So this is supporting their transition and knowledge of this protocol.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for Pete?
I have a question. Is this updated with the recent school shootings and threats over the last year?
It is. So they work really closely with the Secret Service as well as with a lot of the national organizations. So this is really the model training. So this is the one we should be doing.
Peter,
Go ahead, Justin.
I was just going to ask some technical questions. Is this a multi-year purchase, or is this just for the single year?
So it's support over multi-years, but the training itself is It's support over, I believe it's 2 years, but the training itself is 1 year. So what happens is that we do the online training for individuals, and then we do in-person training for the group.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, because it's a hybrid, okay.
And how long and when will this training take place? I think the detail was in here, but just for the public.
It's pretty extensive. So the individual training, I believe, is 10 hours or so. And then the group training is a full day where you take that and apply it and kind of learn to do it as a team.
And will this be done like as a professional development day, or will this be during
It will
school?
be as part of a PD day in the early days that we return.
Excellent, and thank you for providing the explanations on what CSTAG is and then the breakdown of the different levels. It helped to really, drill into our heads what exactly it was that this program was about, and it really is extensive, and, really appreciate providing those supporting materials.
Actually, the format of our school committee meetings are the school committee gets to ask questions. We don't kind of do like a Q&A from the audience during the meeting. What I would say is if you have any questions about any agenda items, you could certainly, if it's appropriate, to reach out to your child's principal. If not, you could reach out to the superintendent. But we have a format and protocols. We don't do like a Q&A in the middle of the meeting. This is an opportunity for school committee members to ask questions. So there's a motion on the floor. We have a second. Is there any more discussion from the school committee?
I just had a quick question. Have we, in line with this, talked about active shooter drills?
So we're working with the police department this summer, and so we'll do some tabletop drills with them, and we're going to work with them for a plan for that training during the school year.
Is this for possibly the plan optional for teachers and staff, or just the emergency, the safety committee?
So let me just clarify your question. The CSTAG training or is the option, it's not optional. If you're a part of the threat assessment team, you have to do it.
Okay.
Right.
And the whole population of staff and teachers, is that part of the training
No,
cost?
this is primarily the mental health team. So this is typically the principal, assistant principal, guidance counselor. If it's a school with a guidance counselor, will be the school psychologist, school resource officer, school nurse is really the threat assessment team, and then the wider school safety team does the other training.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other questions from the school committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. So we are on to item number 2. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance and administration to approve the contract with United Fence and Construction Corporation to install a new backstop for the high school practice field and repair the existing backstop and fencing at the high school in the amount of $48,621?
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion? Hi,
Good
Steve.
evening. This is the backstop for the practice field and the replacement of the softball field backstop fencing.
Steve, is this the same stuff we've been talking about with repairing the field back there and all that?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Just wanted to make sure.
And this is part of our capital budget. And so, we've been talking about this kind of since December or so, right? And again, there is a deep need for field space within the town. This will primarily be used as a practice field by our school teams, and then when the school teams are not using it, it'll be available to Little League and other rec teams.
Any questions for Steve or Pete about this bid?
Does Little League or any other association that wants to use the field, will they be paying a rental fee?
We generally do not charge the town rental fees unless it's inside the building, and then even then, we don't.
Outside?
Outside the building, like outside groups that use the inside of our building
So like
pay for it if they're not a town agency or a nonprofit?
So we have a pretty specific structure, generally speaking, Jen, if it is a town organization with Narragansett kids, they don't have to pay. And so if there is a cost, it's typically just to cover the cost of a custodian or any expenses incurred by the school system just to have the field open. And then if it is an outside organization, we have a pretty specific fee structure. For example, we have a club soccer program that might rent out the turf field for a tournament or something like that, and there's a pretty specific fee structure around that.
Okay,
There's also an extensive field use policy in the policy section.
okay.
All right, so
And-
we've got a motion on the floor to approve fencing. So is there any other questions about the fence quote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. So we are on to item number 3. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance administration to approve the purchase of kitchen equipment from B&G Food Service Equipment and Supply in the amount of $58,423.65?
So moved.
Is there
Oh, sorry, second.
and discussion?
This is primarily the replacement of aged equipment. It's a walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, some refrigeration units, a steamer for the high school, and cold table for the high school as well. The majority of that equipment is around 30 years old.
So Steve, it's just about time to replace all
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. And this was covered in our budget, right?
Capital, yeah.
Yeah, capital, okay. I thought so, I remember this vaguely, so.
Any idea on the timing? Like, would this be on site for September? Is there a big back order?
Currently, it's on track for the summer to be installed by the start of school. There may be 1 or 2 items that have an extended lead time, but not expecting that.
Steve, did you have a consultant come in to help you with this equipment?
I had the consultant from B&G.
Okay. Just being very familiar with our, with our business, I'm just curious to see, the Department of Health, I'm assuming, has been in and looked over what was currently there. And 30 years ago, the equipment is, 30 years now, the equipment will look similar, but it's a little bit different kind of thing. I just want to make sure that.
Yeah, it's all food service rated equipment. There's the 2 walk-in units that are being replaced. They've been
Yep.
out of service for about 7 years.
Yeah, totally get that. My questioning, honestly, actually, I think these are actually pretty good pricings, especially for what I'm sure you need, and that has to be to code with the temperatures, is the panels, if they are not food safe on the outside, the Department of Health will make you use something else. So I would just, I know they can't consult Department of Health, but I would double check with B&G just to make sure those panels, because I'm looking at them right now, and that wouldn't fly in our kitchen.
Yeah, they're NSF certified panels, so
Okay,
they meet the standard.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I see on one of the supporting documents that you provided us that they are certified National Sanitation Foundation, Underwriters Laboratory, City of Houston, great, EISA compliant. Having worked in the food service industry in the past, I recognize many of the certifications here. I'm also very familiar with B&G Foods, and I know that they are really by the book and are very well certified as well. And also appreciate all of the photos and incredible breakdown of all of the equipment that is listed here for purchase, and the quotes, the pictures, and learning all about it, and hearing from you, Jen, directly, just a constant learning experience here. And again, really appreciate all the supporting materials here. Thank you.
Any other questions for Steve?
Steve, just can you make them last another 30 years?
Can't guarantee that.
All right, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last business item, is there a motion to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the director of finance and administration for the purchase of furnishings for 2 learning labs at the Narragansett Peer School from CDWG in the total amount of $49,733.22?
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion?
So I'd like to welcome up Colleen and Ryan Kansett, who has been working on this project for a couple of years. And so we're really excited about the possibilities here, and I think it's quite thoughtful and innovative. So with that, I'll kick it off to Colleen and Ryan.
Awesome, thank you. So we have just a few slides here so that you can, kind of hear the process, how this developed, which, I was here for this year of the process and working, and that's why I'm so thankful that Ryan's here with me, because he started the process with Marianne and a team, so he can kind of explain the development and where it came from and kind of where we moved to, as well as some pictures that kind of really do tell the story of what these rooms are intended to be used as at the Peer School. So we're working on a grade 5-6 learning lab and a grade 7-8 learning lab, which would be located to the left and to the right classrooms of the library. Again, a collaborative decision made to be kind of part of the heart of the school, to invite students in and to kind of invite them for learning. So I will let Ryan kind of talk through a little bit about the process and how this was developed as we move through this.
Okay, thank you for having me here today. Just want to go back about probably 5 years ago. We've been doing these conferences at MassQ per recommendation of Mr. Lugini, and there's been a team of teachers that have gone up to Gillette Stadium, not to see the game or anything like that, but, although I did win tickets one year, but But we went up there, and it's an opportunity to collaborate with other teachers outside the region. So you're not meeting teachers from Rhode Island, but you're meeting teachers all over the country. Innovative technology, how to integrate a lot of the ISTE standards into the classroom and really bring the classroom into the 21st century. So there's a lot of times we're bringing back ideas from these conferences, and as I guess you would say model teachers are just doing best practice, integrating that into our classroom, whether it's software, programming, or just different styles of tweaking the system of what we're doing. But if you look here with the ISTE standards, we're looking at being creative and innovative, communication and collaboration, research. One of the reasons we chose the adjacent classrooms is that students can get the opportunity to use the library for research. A couple approaches of doing this is there's a project that we've done, I worked with Ms. Miller on, with ancient Egypt, and we give topics to the children, and they choose, for example, say it was religion, they would, in its ancient Egypt, they would pick the gods or goddesses of the research, not me assigning them. So it allows the child to actually go out, and we've used British Museum, this is just an example of a project. They would go pick out an artifact from that museum and then look at it and determine what it is and work backwards, rather than me saying, all right, your god is, whether it's Greece, you're going to do Zeus, and this is what you're going to do. It takes a little bit of that learning and discovery away from the child. So that's kind of the critical thinking, problem solving, decision making. And one of the other pieces is the collaboration piece, getting students to work together and work well together. And in 5th and 6th grade, sometimes they can't work well together. So I really think that in the 21st century, we need to move children ahead. And the biggest joke I get, I always told the children, is that Mrs. Galligan, who retired tonight, we don't get along, but we have to, because that's our job. In the real world, you have to be able to get along with your peers and colleagues, and project-based and having deadlines. So this is, we have some renderings down over here. Okay. Encouraging flexible space for student collaboration, adaptive spaces for students to learn, and then project-based learning. The idea development, the company CDW is on, I believe one of our vendor lists. And what they do is they come out and they actually, Mrs. Kirby and myself went through a couple classrooms and took pictures and measurements, and they did the renderings for us. And we talked about what we wanted, what we had. You know, you want a smart board? So we're all set. We have smart boards, we need Promethean boards, but we wanted to create those type of learning settings in the classroom. As we move forward, I think that we kind of looked at the furnishings, grade 5, 6, a little bit smaller, and grade 7, 8, a little bit bigger, different learning styles. There are some similarities in them, but there are some that are going to be conducive to 5, 6, and 7, 8, right? And then we'll just kind of go in from there.
And just another highlight on that last slide too, you know, Ryan and I worked hard to involve our teacher leader group, and then from there to also involve all the teachers kind of as stakeholders, because they see the students every day, so they really, you know, can understand a little bit about how those students learn and what's going to be best for them. For example, there were some things Ryan and I talking to CDW, we were like, yeah, no, that sounds great. And we brought it back to the team and they said, well, I like this idea, let's tweak this idea. So we had many, many, many back and forths with CDW and the company, you know, between their designers and their program leader and the liaison from the company in general. We had lots of back and forth meetings, you know, to kind of talk through, okay, we like this, we want to modify this, we want to make these changes. So kind of the idea behind it is that those labs, like I said, will be to the sides of the library. It'll be a sign-in, kind of sign-out process. You know, we really hope to model it in that first year with some of our new library media specialist programming that we're incorporating in the new schedule. So that should be kind of a help to be a little bit of a model for other teachers on how to use it, as well as, you know, like Ryan said, utilizing Ms. Miller, Vanessa Miller, to kind of work with teachers and you know, some professional development around utilizing those rooms, the ISTE standards, and kind of that collaborative nature of the classroom.
So just something to add to that one is a lot of times when you get in the library and do a research project, you're finishing the project right there. The strategy would be that we can get more students in to do research projects, and then you're finishing the projects in the collaborative spaces. So it gives a little bit more flow to it, and like you said, it's the hub of the peer school.
So I want to thank Colleen and Ryan for their really hard work on this. It's really thoughtful and integrates very nicely with our push to help students become more engaged in their learning, to more personalized learning, and to be more kind of creative in the different ways that we're helping students to achieve the standards that they need to get to. A lot of hard work went into this. You know, it's very similar to some of the work that we've been doing in mathematics and really thinking about how does physical space affect the way that students learn. So this is really, we hope, going to be a model for some other things that we'll do across the district.
So I know you have this in front of you, but for those of people watching, kind of what it will look like. We have many renderings of these rooms, but I just kind of chose, you know, to give the flair of what the room would look like. You know, they did, again, measure the rooms, and that's a digital recreation of the room and where things would be set up. You know, so essentially the furniture is what we would be purchasing from the company for the 5-6 lab here. Again, flexible space, there's some more low-to-the-ground seating, there's some stools that are adjustable, there's, you know, again, tables that can be readjusted and moved, and that is another thing that we really looked for, is the flexibility of the space to utilize it, as well as a space for a teacher to be. You know, we do have the Promethean boards in there currently, but that would be the 5-6, and then this would be kind of the 7-8 structure. So you'll see, again, similarities in both rooms, some comfortable seating. You know, we did work with Steve Gormley, too, to make sure that, you know, this is furniture that can be wiped down, it can be cleaned, it can be manageable, and lasting. So we did work with Buildings and Grounds on that as well. So that's kind of what we have today. But I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm sure Ryan can answer some, too, if you have them.
Oh, we got free shipping, too.
Oh, yes. We did.
I don't know how we managed that.
We worked extensively with CDW and, you know, working back and forth with them. They appreciated something, and we did get free shipping, which actually for that amount of material was significant in the cost. So we were able to really purchase everything that teachers and, you know, were advocated for.
This is really, really exciting. Like, I can't wait to see when this comes in. This is fantastic. So thank you for the vision. Thank you for implementing your vision. What do you anticipate this might be on site for September, or is there a big back order on this?
So in speaking with them, again, we had so many back and forth meetings with CDW and wanted to get it on the agenda as soon as possible. It will probably be actually maybe a month into school, so closer to October. But the furniture, if you kind of look at what it is, most of it, if not all, is already assembled. So we've talked with Steve, about generally they'd put things together in the summer, but most of this furniture actually comes assembled. So it's not a huge lead time in terms of, or for us to get it in the building. So we're thinking probably end of September, beginning of October.
Well, thank you for giving us the color renderings. I can't wait to see like real photos and actually go to the Pierce School and see the real stuff. So very cool.
Yeah,
Any,
sorry.
Yep.
I was going to say, I'm looking at it, and I would feel incredibly energized and really want to learn all about math and use it for whatever lesson was going to be taught. I know that it's specifically designed for math, but there's any number of classes that could use these classrooms.
I just want to clarify, these are actually labs for the entire school.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so these are sign-out labs for the entire school, use for any teacher, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are actually designed to be utilized for many different things. Like Ryan said, research is a big piece here, so the library being able to utilize those rooms. There's a door from the library, if you're familiar with the Pierce School, that goes right into these two classrooms. So again, that was a great suggestion from our leadership team, actually, that brought to this. Well, those would be great rooms to have it in and to host it in, rather than just a computer lab that's in a corner of a building that maybe people don't know is there and utilized. So it is for the whole school.
Well, thank you for doing that research and getting feedback from the staff, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this come together. I can speak from personal experience how just even adding a little color to a classroom can really go a long way. It's very welcoming, very appealing, a place that I would like to go back to and learn if I was in there, and it's very comfortable looking too. So, and having reviewed similar furniture in the past, I know that this is, here for the long run. It's very high quality. You guys have done a really great job at presenting the future labs, and really appreciate all of the hard work and presentation that you provide us.
Any other comments or questions from the school committee?
Yeah, being a middle school teacher, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, yay, this is what we should be spending our money on. And what I love most about it is that, you're passionate about giving this to the kids, and they are going to know that when they see this. So my one question is, I'm looking at that tall table. Can that be standing tables? Because if you were to survey if you were to survey the kids, I can tell you those 6th graders, they're bopping up and down. They want to stand and learn. Like we can do that, right?
So that's where part of the feedback came, is that tall table is a standing table.
Awesome.
So those seats can be pulled out and you can work on that. It also has a monitor mount on top of that, and we're talking with Ms. Miller, is a lot of times you can be working with something on the screen in a small, intimate environment. So you can actually have presentations within, not just one presentation in the classroom, but multiple presentations in the setting.
Great work. It's awesome. I'm so excited.
And there are two, what you have with 5th and 6th graders, and 7th and 8th is charging. So there are 2 charging ports that are battery. So one of them will move into the other classroom, but so that way we're not jumping over cords and trying to be appropriate.
Sorry, I did have one more question I forgot. Is there going to be some sort of training for teachers about, how to utilize the space? And are we going to encourage or insist that every class at least uses it once throughout the year?
Yeah, we could talk about that rotation or creating project-based, projects within your class. One thing in talking with Vanessa Miller, we were going in this direction, and then COVID hit. So in turn, we had some nice ideas with Vanessa Miller going forward, and then we talked about, well, one thing we want to do is, I know that they're putting the whiteboard panels, and we might be looking at maybe adding some of those to the space. Some of the wallpaper, I think, Steve, that's on the next project, is to paint and make them neutral. And then talking to Ms. Miller is coming up with project-based learning, graphic organizers or wall hangings and things like that can promote the steps and the processes that occur. And I almost guarantee with Vanessa that we'll probably be putting a team together and coming up with what's the approach, what are the benchmarks that we need to hit in creating these types of learning opportunities. But the other piece is creating some rigor and bringing a little more student choice with the output.
And I will say that when, Ryan and a group of teachers at the school had gone to that MassQ conference again this year, we pulled back and we kind of got into a group and said, how are we going to bring some of this information back? And we did that in a bunch of faculty meetings, actually, as professional development opportunities. So I would like to continue that. And I think it would actually lead into the support of them maintaining this MassQ, attendance to go and see some of these things in action, and it will be a good focus, I think, for that group at MassQ to kind of talk through some of that.
So I'm going to Gillette again this year, unfortunately.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Are there any communications any school committee members want to mention? All right, so our next meeting is July 12th at 6 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn at 8:26?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.